When it comes to being able to produce power on the climb or on the sprint, a lot of us like to think about the core, whatever that is. Now, the core for many people is this right here. This is your core. Well, in fact, if we're going to talk about the core, everything between your neck, your elbows, and your knees needs to be able to work together. And in fact, it really includes all the muscles of the body. Some need to produce movement, others need to produce stiffness in order to control that force and produce that force. Today, I'm going to show you an exercise with just a band and a door anchor that's going to help you learn how to produce that control in through the entire body to be able to unleash a wicked sprint that you already have using the skill of riding that you've developed. Now, when it comes to developing power and being able to drop the hammer out on a ride, a lot of us like to think about doing really speed stuff and moving really quickly. In fact, that comes way later. For a large majority of us, that would be a year or two down the road, especially if we're just beginning our journey in strength training. Now, today we're going to look at what's called the Pallof Press. This exercise was initially developed by a physical therapist, Joseph Pallof, in the Northeast US, and he used with his clients and quickly made its way into the athletic realm due to its utilization of just basic force and mechanics and how they apply to sport. Now, the first thing we're going to note here is we're using a door anchor. Now, we want to make sure the door anchor is set up in the back of the door by the hinges and that the door is locked. Especially nowadays working from home, you never know what kid or partner or friend is going to come bursting through the door without announcing themselves. Now, the band is my preferred way for cyclists and triathletes to do this exercise, not because that's what you have at home, but because of how it produces that force and how easy it is for us to actually change and increase or decrease the difficulty just by simply moving further or closer. Now, there's another variation, which is with the cable stack. I would generally guide you away from that. I think that there's a return on that. However, for most of us, the band is well ahead of that, especially again for cyclists and triathletes. That's why we're here. That's why you've subscribed down below, is because you're a cyclist or triathlete who wants to learn how to get these exercises to work for you. Now, the Pallof Press is actually pretty simple, but not easy. We're going to start off. The band is going to be anchored right around right between hip height and belly button height. We don't want to have it any higher. We don't want to have it any lower. And the reason why is because as we're doing the Pallof Press, we're creating a lateral shearing force on your lumbar spine. So the higher up or lower down, really the higher up the band is, the more that shearing force is going to be. And that's also a word to the wise. If you have back pain when you're climbing or out of the saddle, this is not the exercise for you. You can email me. I will help you find a McGill certified practitioner nearby you to help you resolve that issue once and for all, or you can work with me. Now, when we're setting up, we're going to have the band in a nice, relaxed hand. And I want to have about a 15 to 20 degree bend. I'm not slamming that elbow to my side, just nice and relaxed. That's about where we're going to start. Now, I'm going to back up into the backdrop here, because when we do this, I need to be able to keep a straight line when my hands are straight ahead. So we don't want to have the band pulling us backwards or forwards, because that's going to change the exercise. The other thing to note is I'm going to get into a partial hinge. It's a squatty hinge, so my knees come forward just a little bit, but my abs are braced, my glutes are braced. I'm thinking about spreading the floor with my feet. So I'm actively, if you look at the yoga mat, I'm trying to rip the floor apart while I'm creating this. Okay, so this is a very important part of the exercise, and one that most people miss altogether. So feet are even on the floor, push my butt back. Start here. Two hands onto the band. We want to make sure the fingers are interlaced, coming into the middle, heart center. Now from here, the exercise itself is simply, but not easily, pushing the band forward, keeping it heart center, and coming back. We're going to go for a set of 5 to 8, and we want to make sure there's a straight line, and I'm not deviating as we go through. And that's where we're going to get this exercise working. You're going to feel that entire back leg working, the glute, the adductor, the hamstring. You're going to feel that right foot's going to want to give. You're going to want to shift the hip in and kind of do this, or you're going to want to arch the band. That is the exercise, is the technique for this exercise. Now you're going to do all sets, all repetitions of a set on one side, and then you'll just take the band and then you'll flip around the other side. Now as we go through this, what's really important here is to note that how you do the exercise is very important. If you just grab the band and you haphazardly and just go through it, you're not getting what you need out of this exercise. The whole point of this exercise for cyclists and triathletes is when you're climbing or sprinting to allow you the ability to resist the shearing force that you're producing and the bike is producing as you're pushing down on it. That's producing a lateral shearing force. Boom, boom. In order to be fast, you need to be able to resist that so that all of the proximal stiffness is producing movement only from the hip down to the bike to get all that power down behind you so you can get to the finish line first and get those hands overhead. Now, if you found today's video to be useful in helping you learn how to perform the Pallof Press with a band at home with a door anchor, make sure you're subscribing down below and leave a comment. Have you tried this exercise before? Did we hit on any points that really surprised you, or you go, aha, that's why I didn't feel it? When you're done, make sure you head on over to the Human Vortex Training website, check out our most recent blog, and remember, until next time, train smarter, not harder, because it is all about you.